How did ancient people find clean drinking water when there were no water filters, no bottled water, and no modern water treatment plants? The answer might surprise you. Thousands of years ago, finding safe water was not as simple as turning on a tap. One wrong choice could make a person seriously sick. So how did ancient people know which water was safe? They learned to watch nature. Rivers, lakes, springs, wells, and rainwater were their main sources of fresh water. But they quickly discovered that not every water source was safe. A clear-looking river could still contain harmful dirt, animals, or waste. So people began looking for clues. One of the best clues was moving water. Fast-flowing streams and springs were often preferred because fresh water was constantly moving and was less likely to become dirty than still water. Springs were especially valuable. When water came naturally out of the ground, people often built settlements nearby because they could have a steady source of fresh water. Ancient communities also dug wells to reach underground water. In places where rivers were far away, wells could become the center of an entire village. But digging a well was hard work. People had to dig deep into the ground, remove soil and stones, and strengthen the sides so the well would not collapse. Some ancient civilizations became extremely skilled at this. In the ancient world, wells and underground water systems helped large communities survive in dry areas. But here's the interesting part. Ancient people did not always drink water exactly as they found it. They also used simple methods to improve it. One method was settling. If water looked muddy, people could leave it in a container and allow heavy dirt to sink to the bottom. The clearer water could then be carefully removed from the top. Another method was filtering. People could pass water through materials such as cloth, sand, gravel, or other natural materials to remove visible dirt and particles. This did not make water completely safe, but it could make dirty water much clearer. And then there was one of the oldest water cleaning methods of all, boiling. People discovered that heating water could make it safer to drink. Fire was already an important part of ancient life, so using heat to treat water was possible in many cultures. But wait, if ancient people had no laboratories, how did they know which water sources were dangerous in the first place? Much of the answer came from experience. People noticed that water near human waste, dead animals, or polluted areas could make people sick. Over generations, these observations became practical knowledge. Communities also protected important water sources. Wells could be covered to keep dirt and animals out. Some settlements built channels and pipes to move water from cleaner sources into towns. The ancient Romans, for example, became famous for their large water systems, including aqueducts that carried water over long distances. But aqueducts were not the only solution. Different civilizations developed different ways to collect, store, and move water. In dry regions, people collected rainwater in jars, underground tanks, and large storage structures. In some places, underground channels carried water from distant areas into settlement. The basic idea was simple: find a cleaner source, protect it, and store it carefully. Ancient people also understood something very important. Water could become dirty after collection. A clean spring could become unsafe if animals entered it or people dumped waste nearby. That is why protecting the source was just as important as finding it. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. For ancient people, finding clean water was not just about survival. It could decide where an entire civilization would grow. Cities often developed near reliable water sources because water was needed for drinking, cooking, farming, animals, and trade. Without a dependable supply, a large settlement could struggle to survive. So when ancient people searched for clean water, they were not simply looking for something to drink. They were looking for the foundation of their future. They watched the land, followed springs, dug wells, collected rain, settled muddy water, filtered it, and sometimes used fire to make it safer. They had no modern machines, but they had something just as important: observation, experience, and generations of knowledge. So the next time you turn on a tap and get clean water in seconds, remember this: thousands of years ago, finding a single safe drink could require knowing the land, understanding nature, and sometimes risking everything to get it.